achieve success with Global.Media.com. Every step forward is a new beat to your drum. Achieve success with Global.Media.com. Let's celebrate it with or without champagne.
My screen frozen.
No.
Ah,
We
it
can
did
still
pause
hear
for a
you.
moment.
We can hear you though. We can still hear you.
Yes, the screen kind of froze for a moment. Goodness
Yeah, you're
me.
all right. Okay. Welcome everyone. Welcome.
Welcome.
Drama. You know, technology issues. But we're here. Why am I talking, Christiana? You talk to our friends.
I'm talking to our friends. No, you're talking. You finish first, and I'll continue. It's fine.
I finished. We're here. Say,
That was all of
let's
2
do.
seconds.
Let's have fun. Oh, no, sorry, not fun. Sorry. Oh no. Dr. Noella. It seems like it's you and me. Lost Christiana will come. She'll come back.
Yeah.
So welcome everyone. So we have tried our best to go live as soon as we could. So tech issues have been dogging our day, but tonight we're here. You're here. Everyone's happy. Oh, Christiana's back. Superb. So let's bring her back on stage.
Eddie, I give up.
That was time to leave, wasn't it? Time to leave.
I give up already.
Don't give up. Never give up, Christiana. Come on, never give up.
Of course, I've never give up. I'm here.
Yes, Dr. Noella is here. You're here. I'm not.
Doctor,
No, I'm here too.
Here.
Sorry, I'm here. All right. Rosemary is here. Welcome, Rosemary. We see you.
Welcome, Rosemary. Good to see you.
B, my superstar friend, is here as well.
Awesome.
Now, if you're here, drop us a comment, please, so we know you are here.
Yes. And can I say one thing as well? If you are LinkedIn user, please type your name next to whatever comment you make, because all we're going to see is LinkedIn user. We won't know who on earth you are. You know, so please take the time to type in your name and make a comment, of course. So welcome, everyone. Welcome wherever you're joining us from today. I'll say morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are joining us from. It is so nice to have you guys here. It is so nice to see each and every one of you who are joining us this afternoon. And thank you so much for taking the time, making the time to join us. You guys are the ones that make this community. Without you, we won't be here. So thank you so much. And round of applause for you for making it. And please share. Try and invite 2-3 people to join us today, to join us in this conversation. We are continuing with the theme of, is there joy after miscarriage? We began this 2 weeks ago. And I really want to say a special thank you to, like I said, I'm going to spotlight people this morning or afternoon, evening, wherever you are. I want to say thank you to Rosemary for sharing, and thank you to Michael Rivers for reposting, Sam and Dr. Noella for reposting this event's post and for sharing this post. Please continue to get into your DMs and share. Let's reach others. Let's bring people who are going to benefit from this. If you know anyone who may benefit, anyone that may know somebody else that may benefit, please do share. It's the reason why we share. We're here to support one another, to support each other. So that for me, I would truly appreciate. Thank you so much for being here once again. Yes, when it comes to joy, this is what happens to my face, a smile. Okay, so I'm obviously going to be so happy talking about joy. The reason being, miscarriage and baby loss subject is somewhat devastating. It is a subject that can be quite highly sensitive. And most people ask me, how do you smile and still talk about this? Well, I've been through my own personal journey, so I can smile whilst I talk about this. But I do understand and know that for those who are not quite the point where I am, it won't be the same for you guys. But today it's about joy. It's about what's happened has happened. How do we move forward? And as we move forward, how do we find joy in that forward movement? How do we get to experience the joy? What steps do we take to experience the joy? But before we do that, as always, I will always remind you of the stats and always remind you of some of the journeys people go through, the impact of miscarriage and baby loss itself. So to begin with, I've said it so many times, I'll keep reminding you guys that 1 in 4 women will experience miscarriage. Okay. These days, it isn't about age really. It's about you experiencing that. It could be from your 20s, 30s, 40s. That happens to women across the board. The second is 1 in 8 couples will experience fertility challenges. That could be in any form, whether that is low sperm count, whether that is PCOS, which is polycystic ovary syndrome, or endometriosis, whatever conditions that and issues that couples have, 1 in 8 of us will experience that. And to also say that 50% of us, especially here in the UK, would know somebody, or they will know somebody who has experienced miscarriage or baby loss. And the numbers are rising, unfortunately. With that being said, there is still ongoing research when it comes to this topic of miscarriage and baby loss. And if you've been in my rooms, my audio rooms now live, you will know that I always mention things like some of the risk factors that contributes or causes miscarriage, such as abnormal chromosomes. Your DNA might be faulty. Food poisoning is another factor. Like I mentioned before, medical conditions, pre-existing medical conditions could be a factor too. So as we've journeyed through, we have to understand the reasons why these things happen. We have to also understand the impact it has. For some, or for most people, in fact, there is a mental health, issue attached to it, from stress to anxiety, anxiety to depression, depression to, feeling of failure, fear of being judged, both personally in our home environments, in our communities, and in our work environment, especially in our work environment. A lot of women and men go through this in isolation. They go through this suffering. They go through this not sure what to do, where to go, even how to disclose what they're going through. I know from my own personal experience, it's something that I've experienced. I really couldn't tell anybody. Not that I couldn't, but the environment didn't seem like a place where I could disclose what I was going through. For the first instance, it took 7 years to fall pregnant and to end in a loss. Now, how do you tell people that you've lost a pregnancy or a baby when they never knew you were pregnant to begin with? So think about that. Second miscarriage, third miscarriage, up until the point I'm sat here talking to you. Despite the adversity, despite the pain, despite my husband having to pull me off the floor, quite literally, I had to journey to get to this point. And so that's the reason I know there is joy after miscarriage or baby loss. And I'm here to share that with you, but not just myself alone. I bring you someone very special for us today. And she is a phenomenal person, a human, a special human in my humble opinion. She's amazing at what she does. She really embodies what support, what care, especially from a health practitioner's point of view. And you all know how I can sometimes feel about healthcare practitioners, right? So she embodies that. She took it upon herself to teach men and women what to do, how to achieve that joy. And I really just want you to pause for a moment and think about joy, the word joy. When we think joy, we think happiness. We think laughter. When we think about miscarriage, it is sad, but laughter is ultimately what we were in search of when we began the journey. To bring a family, to bring a child into the world, it's joyous. We think of growing families, we think of happiness. And unfortunately, miscarriage sometimes does take that away from us. but we have to get to a point where we return to that joy. And today, myself and, as I'm going to introduce her, you find her name in a second, myself and our special guest, our very special guest today, will be talking about how to do that. Okay, with no further ado, I'm going to be introducing to you Dr. Guayama Noella. Please, either in emojis, show your love, welcome her, express, please, round of applause, whichever way you want to welcome Dr. Noella this day, today. Please, let us know, share with us. So she dropped off.
Yeah, you have to give her a second to come back.
Oh, okay. So whilst Dr. Noella is coming back, let's go through.
Let's welcome our friends who are here.
Yes, let's do that. And
we'll see you.
Hi, Cyrus.
Yeah, I see you too, Deborah. Thank you.
Hello,
for
Deborah.
Being here.
Actually, if it's their first time, could you please type in the chat if it is your first time, so we can specially welcome you to our community. So if it's your first time, please type in the chat. I'm not sure I've come across Deborah before. So if it's your first time, please do type in the chat for us so we can see. Let me see if I can see what others are seeing. Awesome. Hi, Michelle. Welcome.
Michelle, I've sent you a link. The StreamYard link to join the studio. Where have you gone, Christiana? Everyone's leaving me to sit here today, right? It's all right. They all come back in good time. So, Michelle, I've sent you the link. If you want to join us, feel free. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Someone's come back. Excellent. So someone's here. I'm not alone anymore. There's a little noise I hear. What could have happened? Your excitement. You click buttons.
That was me and my machines, my devices are really challenging me right now.
It's gonna be fun today. Okay.
If you knew what it's still to come on board in the first place. Okay.
We'll be fine. We'll be fine. Give me 5 minutes. Let things start running properly, and then we'll be fine again until I freeze. But I'm sure I'll freeze sometime, right? Anyway,
yes.
If you're here, drop us a comment. We can't see you otherwise. That's how these events work. So we'd love to know everyone who's here so we can welcome you properly.
Yes. So I think Michelle said she's going to LinkedIn. Welcome.
Yes,
I was just saying before I was kicked out by my own device. Surprise, surprise. If it is your first time here today, can you please let us know that it is your first time? And
someone's here. Someone's here.
Oh, it's Dr. Noella back.
Oh, she's come back. Okay, superb. So give me a second.
I think she said she's coming back. So whilst we're waiting for Dr. Noella, let's talk about.
No. It's not Dr. Noella. You got Michelle.
I've got Michelle. Hi, Michelle.
Hello, Michelle.
So let's look at what joy looks like. I think in the last show I previously mentioned two things. Having a look at exactly who were you before? Who were you before you began your pregnancy or your increasing your family, starting a family journey? Who were you? What activities brought you joy? What were the things that you did that gave you that self-confidence, that pride, that happiness before you experienced miscarriage? Find those hobbies and those things that you can do, whether daily or weekly, to help you.
No, you're frozen.
Can you still hear me though?
I can hear you. Yes, I'm wondering to let you carry on because Michelle is struggling to hear you properly. I don't know if that's affecting your sound.
Can you hear me properly?
I can hear you, but it may not work quite as well as we think.
She should. I'm guessing she needs to lip read as well.
Well, we can't lip read. You're not moving.
Let me log out and log back.
I got it. It's okay. I can hit.
Okay,
I got it.
Can you hear?
Thanks, Michelle. Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you.
Okay.
So yes, And so it's really important to think of who we were before, what we did before, what gave us joy as we journey forward, and who in our resources could we do that with? Who could we, give that honor to join us, to support us? Who our nearest and dearest that we really confide in, we really trust to journey with us? Because sometimes when you're going through this, you may not be able to really focus on what you used to like. So those around you who know you very well might be the people that will be able to help you to say, well, we used to go to, I don't know, for example, we used to go to gym classes before, or we used to go for a walk in the park. We used to have our massages once a month. Whatever it is or was that you did that brought you joy, that is one way to move forward on your journey.
Definitely. I found out though, a lot of people feel very awkward about the situation, so they don't want to like, they don't want to help. They feel too weird, and so a lot of people are left doing it by themselves.
Yes, they are. But yes, they are. The one thing I will say about this is this: there is always one person. We might not be able to confront everybody around us, but there is always that one person, whether that person is a mother, a sister, a father, a brother, whoever it is. There is always one person that you will have disclosed what you're going through with.
I was blessed to do it with my doctor because we found out I needed a shot every time I got pregnant or I would die. And we needed to change the baby's blood type. So my doctor was my support system. It was pretty cool. He didn't let me die.
That's a good start. See again, that's joy. I can look at the joy. Look at the joy in your face when you said that, Michelle. The joy of staying alive. And I think people don't really people underestimate that sometimes. The risk that we take, the risk that we're living in when we go as women, when we go through things like miscarriages or baby loss, how our bodies change, how we truly are at risk of life and death, literally. So yeah. I'm so glad that you're still here to tell the story, and the key is telling your story. And before I continue, let's remind ourselves that this space is a safe space, or a judgment-free space, a fear-free space, a space where you're welcome to express yourself without judgment.
Automatic, spontaneous abortion.
Yes.
Yes. And unfortunately, a lot of infertile people go through that go through when they get the shots so they can get pregnant. And I have read up on it. Yes. And over 80% they have a spontaneous abortion.
Mm-hmm. Which is a form of miscarriage. Because when people hear the word when we hear a spontaneous abortion, people tend to think you have an actual abortion, but it's a form of miscarriage.
Yes. Yes, that's they call it spontaneous abortion in America when you go to the hospital, which I don't understand, but it's okay.
It's the same here. It's the same here. But let me pause for a moment and just welcome Deborah. Deborah, welcome. It's your first time. Thank you for joining us today. Can you put in the chat where you are joining us from? And let us know how you came to hear about us. Welcome, Michael B. Good to see you here. Who else is here? So people can actually see me. And if you're still there, I'm going to pop out and pop back in again.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I can't hear you, Annie.
So thank goodness, just in time, Dr. Noella comes to save my day. So Christiana just froze, so she's going to go and restart her device. So she'll be back in a second, right? Okay. Welcome, Dr. Noella. Talk to us. So tell us who you are, and I'll give you a couple of minutes, if that's all right.
Yep. Thank you very much. Welcome, everyone. Thank you, Annie. And thank you, Christiana, for having me on this platform. It's such an honor. I'm Dr. Ngwanya Manuela. I'm a medical doctor with over 6 years of experience dealing with mother and child health. I'm also the founder of Talk Pregnancy with Dr. Nuela, which is a non-profit organization that promotes maternal and child health. So women should not die while giving birth, and children should not even die without experiencing life. So one of our main projects now is on preconception care, what couples have to do before they get pregnant. And this is something not practiced, especially in low and middle income countries. So it's really an honor to work with Christiana, because dealing with miscarriage is not an easy task. And definitely preconception care comes in with the joy after, where she has been talking about joy. Therefore, we come in with preconception care. Thank you.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Christiana.
Dr. Noella, I did introduce you, but you had jumped off. So I was just in the midst of going through the moving on to the joy part, and then if okay, then you can go next if that's okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
But welcome. I did ask for people to put in the chat where they're calling from. Deborah is in. I'm watching from. Oh, she's watching from Lagos. Wow. I've not been to Lagos for quite some time. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All the way from Lagos. Thank you so much for being here. Excellent invitation. Who else? I think Michael B is still around. So as I was saying, thank you, Dr. Noella, for being here. I'm wondering if you've already gone through the introduction of people knowing the awesome work that you do, because I did start telling them about the work that you do. But yes, let me go back. I'm going to quickly finish or round up, and then we can come back to you if that's okay. Thank you once again for being here. Bringing you here for me was exciting. So exciting because I know firsthand the work that you do and the importance of the work that you do when you've experienced miscarriage or baby loss. It really is the reason why you are part of the Joy series, because you help people to experience joy again, to build their confidence, to have the clarity and confidence from obviously this end to then to your side of things, which really helps couples, not just women alone, because as I always like to say, it takes two. This is a team sport, so it takes couples to be able to, I won't say bounce back, because you just don't bounce back, to move forward, to have that clarity, after miscarriages happened, and then to come to preconception to get even more clarity in terms of what they should be doing and how they move forward. The big thing for me is, I always say the journey is part of the joy. When it comes to moving forward, when it comes to preconception, that journey that we take to move forward, the joy lies in that journey too. So let's not forget the journey, especially with couples. Have conversations, talk about it, communicate, speak to what your expectations are, what you want to see, how you're feeling. It is okay. It is okay to talk about how you are feeling. It is okay to express yourselves. It is okay to ask questions from each other, and also to ask your healthcare practitioners questions, because by doing so will help you to truly understand the journey you're on, but also to truly give you that confidence and for you to be more relaxed in the journey going forward. So what I mentioned previously was the fact. Can you still hear me? Oh, good. Was that what I mentioned previously? Before I got thrown off again, I've been thrown about.
It is just, it's nice to meet you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's, I'm sure the network kicked
I'm
her
back.
out. Okay, she's joining back.
There she is.
It's just ridiculous, right? So yeah, so in doing so, it's one of those things you think to no, sorry, it's about to cut me off. In doing so, we have to kind of remember that that's the part of where the joy happens. Sorry, folks. My screen is going funny again. It's about to cut me off or throw me off. And in doing so is how we get to feed our emotional well-being.
Yes.
You know, it's how we get to stay, as I say, stay level-headed. The next thing I'm going to mention is journey. When I say journey means journal to me. So get into the habits of writing what it is you're experiencing, writing the journey you're going through, because it is always great to look back and see how far you've come. That run through, that journey you're going through gives you the confidence, you know, to continue on your journey. And I would say to you, if you can, try and journal as a couple and individually, you know, because it is both your stories. It is both your stories. Be inclusive and speak to each other with love, with care. Listen to understand, as opposed to listening just to reciprocate. That's so important because it means that both parties feel included. Both parties feel like you care for me, I care for you. Both parties feel wholesome moving forward together. And there is no doubt, because remember when miscarriage happened, what happens with couples at times is the blame game begins. And the blame game began from the lack of communication or the misunderstanding from not communicating. So as you go on this journey, get into the practice, into habits of writing, of communicating, going forward. So I'm going to end this by really speaking as in terms of what other thing you can do. So let's think about, for myself personally, my faith is really important to me. You know, getting up and having time, just time alone to think, to get to my happy place. Having praise and worship song for me is my happy place. And that is something that really helped me to move forward. Now, for you, there might be something different. It might be meditation. It might be some mindfulness practices, breathing techniques that you might use, you know, to really center yourself before you move forward. Ideally, you want to do this as a couple, if you're a couple. If you're not a couple, still practice the breathing, meditation, some form of exercise to move forward, something that that allows you to take in oxygen and exhale, because that's really good for your body and your mind and your brain. You know, think of practical steps that you can take moving forward on your journey, whether that be visiting friends and family, because in an initial stage when you experience miscarriage, the seeing people is the furthest thing on your mind. You know, I mentioned last time 2 weeks ago, I couldn't stand seeing babies. It was the thing about going to baby showers for me wasn't possible. So I'm going to end there and I'm going to hand over to our very special guest, Dr. Noella. Thank you so much once again for being here, for taking the time out of your busy practice schedule to join us.
Let's welcome William Plant. William's here, super author William.
Yay!
Dr. Roxana's here as well.
Welcome, William and Dr. Roxana.
I'm a super author. Glad you're both here. So the more of you, if you're here, give us a comment. Let's see where you're joining us from. let's welcome you properly. Let me stop talking now. I'm going back to my hiding place.
So am I. Dr. Noella, over to you.
Okay.
Remember, guys, I said to you to bring some pen and paper. Now's the time for you to start using your pen and your paper. Well done, Michelle. She came prepared. And your beverage, of course. And I'm going to mute myself.
All right. Thank you once again. And it's really an honor for me to be on this platform and to really discuss about what I'm passionate about. I'd just like to start by sharing my own story for maybe how I started, what prompted me to start what I'm doing. It's 5 years ago. I had for my first pregnancy when I got pregnant, and as a medical doctor, everybody believes that everything should go on as fine as possible for a medical doctor, forgetting that even as a medical doctor, complications can still occur. You are still human, and it's still a pregnancy journey. And everything was going on well. I had no nausea, vomiting, all the pregnancy symptoms. I had practically none of it. And towards the 9th month of pregnancy, I did cesarean sections. I usually do cesarean sections, done over 200 cesarean sections. And just the day I did a cesarean section today, the next day, since it was 9 months, I had to tell myself that take care of yourself first. Go and check and make sure that everything is fine, the baby is fine, you're doing fine, such that if labor has to start, then everything should be in order. And just to go and check to see the radiologist who had to do the ultrasound scan, he did that scan for, normally it had to take 5 to 8 minutes to just check if the baby is doing well, but this scan had to reach up to 10 minutes, and it started delaying. I had to have difficulties in breathing. I got up and he told me, lie back, let me check. So once I checked, once they checked, they said there is a problem. I said, what is the problem? And he told me that there was a cord around the baby's neck, and there was already a knot formed. That's the umbilical cord going around the baby's neck, and already a knot which was formed, and the baby was at the verge of suffocation. And he had to refer me to my gynecologist immediately. On reaching there, once the gynecologist heard about it, he had to discuss they discussed with the other gynecologists, and it had to be an emergency cesarean section. This was something I had no plan about. I had not even thought about cesarean section in any way. And it ended up in a cesarean section. And after that, I had some complications. But believe me, in less than 30 minutes, that baby was out and the baby was fine with no difficulties in breathing. Even though after I experienced some complications, but it was managed. So I said to myself that if I am a medical doctor and I suffered this, I was saved by the emergency care, the quality care I received, and from top gynecologists, both two gynecologists working on me. I said to myself that how about those who are not privileged to have this, or even identify their own complications as early as possible? So I really owe, sometimes I tell myself that I owe nothing to actually tell people about that. Even if I didn't tell people or help others, it won't take anything away from me. But I was out there. I knew that there is something I had to do to help other women out there identify complications early and refer them early so that they have manage quality care. That was how I started educating people, and it has grown up to a big organization now with over 30 volunteers, and we've carried out more than 30 community outreach activities. And our YouTube channel, we have more than 2 million views, have over thousands of consultations that we have done, helping pregnant women, saving them. And through this, we have been able to actually bring a smile to these women. That's why coming to this session on miscarriage is very, very important to me, because preconception care, that is where everything begins. You can be pregnant. You can be pregnant, and a lot of things change. When you are pregnant, your body is not longer the same. Anything can change at any time. But has the complication been identified early? That is where the problem comes in. There are people who get pregnant with medical conditions which are not yet identified, and they don't even know that they have these complications. And when it affects them during pregnancy, they could not even think that it could be from the beginning. So prevention, like I said, it's always said, is better than cure. So when you talk about miscarriage, Christiana has spoken about the statistics here, but we should all know what a miscarriage is about. It is miscarriage is just a spontaneous loss of a baby before this baby reaches viability. That's, you can deliver, this baby comes out and is not able to cope in the environment. That is, so different countries have their own definitions where they stop from before maybe the weeks of pregnancy. Now, when you have had a miscarriage, what are the most common causes of miscarriage? Christiana has been saying it, is chromosomal abnormalities. About 50% of miscarriages are chromosomal abnormalities. And do you know that some of these chromosomal abnormalities can be identified before they get pregnant? That is where preconception care comes in. If you've had a miscarriage before, I always say, yes, you have had a miscarriage before. And if you are still planning to get pregnant, maybe for the first time, of course, you don't want to have a miscarriage. I think nobody is going in for pregnancy and expecting to have a miscarriage. So what measures do you take from the beginning before you are getting pregnant? And this is usually done 3 months before you take in. Now, when you have had a miscarriage, what do you do next? When some people usually ask this question, doctor, when should I take it? When is the right time? So the first thing you should know is the right time is by 2 weeks after a miscarriage, you can ovulate. So sometimes once you ovulate, it means you can get pregnant. But it's advised that you should at least wait for the next period to even come first before you can think of getting pregnant. Sometimes they say the number of months of the pregnancy, remember we're talking about early pregnancies, most of the times is the first trimester and early second trimester. You can take the months of the pregnancy, then you can act like 6 weeks after, then you take in. But even if you fulfilled all these conditions, if you are not ready, like this is Christiana, if this is where Christiana comes in, if you are not ready, you have to be ready. And this is, Christiana makes you ready to move forward. You have to be ready to, even if it's 1 year. Sometimes people even wait 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, but they haven't even gotten over it to move forward because they are still thinking, what if it repeats itself? This is the problem. So you have to still be ready before you take in for the next pregnancy. Now, these are the things. The first thing is you have to check for a medical checkup before you want to take in for the next. That's why it's important. If you've had a miscarriage, don't leave the hospital without asking the doctor, when should I come back? Or when should I take in? Please don't leave the hospital, because by the time you'll be coming in, I bet you there is already another pregnancy. So please don't leave the hospital before. So they'll tell you when you should take in. If they say, okay, in 3 months, that's fine. What do you have to start taking at this moment? They put you on some medications. They have to do some workups. The tissue which was removed from the baby, it can be sent now for chromosomal testing. They can check if there are any abnormalities there. Once it's been checked, they can see how to manage it. Now, there are other things. If you are planning to get pregnant, your lifestyle modification is very important. There are certain things, something like smoking, alcohol, are thought to increase the rates of miscarriages. So, and these things are important that you stop taking them at least 3 months before you take in, such that the ones which are present in your body, even for the male, for the partners, you have to stop taking alcohol and smoking. And when I say stop taking alcohol, I mean no alcohol. Please, I'm very strict on that. I always say no alcohol. I know some men always tell me that seriously. Not if I said no alcohol, just a little bit. No, I said no alcohol. And I'm happy because some people, some men actually are ready to do that. And when you do that, you also encourage the woman. So, and smoking, please avoid that. Those are some lifestyle modifications. Now, another thing is the vitamins you are being placed on. All the women I receive that we go out for pre-conception care, all the women who plan to get pregnant, we have distributed over two folic acid to over 200 women planning to get pregnant, and we have given them this folic acid that they can take for 3 months. Thank God to a project that we had, and people supported the project, a crowdfunding campaign, and it was really, really excellent. We so folic acid, please, these are things that you should not miss, because by the time you are discovering that you are pregnant, the brain and the spinal cord most of the times have been formed. So even you increase what doses of folic acid after that, and if there was a malformation there, then it's going to still be there. So it can no longer change. That is why preconception care is important. Don't wait that you are pregnant first and you start taking the dose. It's not going to change if there was already a malformation. And most of these miscarriages come again because of malformations. The baby cannot continue living, so the baby dies because of these malformations. The heart too is not functioning well. So these are the things which you should take. There is a complete list. I might be sending, if Christiana, if there's a way that they have a link to this, I'm going to send the checklist for both men and women, what you have to do 3 months before you get pregnant. So these are the things that you should take upon yourself to do before you are getting pregnant. And lastly, before I just end, I would like to say, if you are planning to get pregnant in 3 months, then what do you do to prevent a pregnancy before these 3 months? Of course, this is where a family planning or a contraceptive methods come in. Therefore, if you are taking folic acid, if you have done your test, then a pregnancy comes in, you should not tell me that it was a mistake. No, definitely, it's no longer an unplanned pregnancy. So it goes forward to promote planned pregnancies and reduce rates of unplanned pregnancies and abortions. So if you are planning your pregnancy, then you should not be thinking of an abortion if you get pregnant because you planned for it. So look for that contraceptive method to give you a time frame to better prepare for your next pregnancy. I don't know if there are any other questions. I might just end here, because if I want to start talking, I'll keep on talking too. Thank you very much. Over to you, Christiana.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm just going to make this note very quickly. 3 months.
I had a beautiful doctor like you that was.
Hi, Sam.
Yeah, don't drink. Okay. Don't do that. Okay. You know, everybody also needs to remember, my son went through this with him and his wife. We need to let men know it's okay to grieve with their wife, or otherwise.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very true.
Yes,
Very true.
it is. It's see, we both say this, both Dr. Noella and I always say this.
Oh,
it takes two. it's for both parties.
Yeah.
When you lose a child, it's not just the woman alone. I know the focus initially is on the woman because she carries the pregnancy, she
Okay.
embodies the child, but it's both parties that have planned, both parties that were looking forward to this new chapter in their lives, in their marriage. And so both parties must be equally giving that attention. Ultimately, I just want to touch on what you said. Thank you, Dr. Noella, for that. I know for you that was a very short, a very short lesson for us this afternoon. I know there's so much more that you can say to us. But what I want people to remember from preconception is not just taking folic acid and getting pregnant. It's whilst you're preparing the body, it's also looking at what you're putting in your body, what you're putting on your body, and what you're surrounding your body with. You know, that we take for granted, the coatings that are used in these pots and pans has an impact. You know, they leave lasting damages in our bodies if we are not careful. The cosmetics we use has an impact. So it's really of what you are surrounding your body with, what you're putting inside your body, and what your environment is. Are you in a place that's industrial? You know, because sometimes we see things like minor reasons as the reason why you have a miscarriage, but why is that? When you look at the whole factors all put together, you start to see an even bigger picture as to why miscarriage is becoming more and more so. So I want to say thank you so much to Dr. Noella for taking the time to talk to us, to come and educate us. And I look forward to us, doing more collaborations together, definitely, for us
Of
to
course.
learn. Because as you know, we're both about educating our
Yeah.
communities, right? It's about educating our communities. And we're hoping that they'll walk away from this today and feel richer, having learned something. And as you said, with regards to the checklist, please, if you're able to put a link even in the chat, or send me a DM with the link, and I will send those out. If anybody
Oh,
wants to have access to the checklist, please send me a DM. In the meantime,
yeah.
once you're here together, please take the time to connect there, get to know each other, get to connect with Dr. Noella. You'll be seeing more of our faces in this room. It's you. So, without further ado, we're going to kind of continue but close. But before we do that, let's let us look at any around, see what questions we have. If anybody have any questions, can you please put it in the chat, and we'll have a look at them and try and answer as quickly as possible. Okay, I don't see any. Are you still there? Are you still with us? Has any left the party?
There it is.
I'm always here.
Any is back.
I'm always here.
I would like to ask a question.
Go for it, Michelle.
Go
I've
ahead.
been really studying women and different ethnics for 4 years. I have really learned how different ethnic groups, I gotta get this right, how different ethnic groups lose children easier during birth, and it's because we're all different. And society has not take that into consideration yet. And how our past has been 5 generations back to where you are sitting now, your family 5 generations back, with our technology and our know-how, we need to fix this. And I just wanted to say that I realize what ethnic through every ethnic, that they're all different when they have miscarriage.
Michelle, we're struggling to hear you because your line is breaking up. So I'm really struggling to kind of hear, unless it's my line. Are you, Dr. Noella, are you getting the same thing I'm getting?
They're flying over me right now.
Dr. Noella, are you still there?
Yeah,
So
I can get her.
you.
I can get her. I can get Michelle.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I can get you.
Okay, I'm getting bits of seconds jumping. I understand what you're saying, but some of what you're saying is I've missed some of it. I think it must be my screen because I'm slowing down. I can see my hands movement. It's slowing down.
I went to a summit.
So what was the question?
I went to a summit 2 years ago. I am able. It was called in Chicago. Beautiful summit. And there I learned about the different ethnic groups and the percentages of miscarriage and how our past has caused a lot of it. That devastated me. Absolutely. And I feel we can stop that. We can break the chain. We just gotta want to do it and go forward. And I just wanted, I guess, to say I learned because I want to help. And so you need to learn everything. You can't just look at yourself in the mirror and say, that's what I'm going to learn about. You need to learn the whole circle. And yeah, I can't get out in words what I want to say. I'll write it down next time. Sorry. I apologize.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you, Michelle.
Did you understand what I meant, though?
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I did.
Yes. Thank you.
There's just so much.
So is there any other questions? I'm trying to find. Let me look at the group. So
we need
feel
to
free
do
to
a lot
put
more
your
research.
questions in the chat. It's my first time. Thank you, Dr. Noella, for sending that. I'm going to put this right in the chat.
So, Christiana, you can't hear us.
Yes, we do.
Do you hear us, Christiana? No. So, Dr. Noella, why the difference in ethnic minorities, numbers of miscarriage or the rates of miscarriage?
Yeah, Michelle. Okay, yeah, definitely. The way where you live, it actually causes. Those are just, for example, social determinants of health. Where if you're living, in a low and middle income country, then we don't have, for example, this chromosomal testing. We don't do it wherever I am, like in Cameroon. We don't do it here. If it has to be done, we have to collect these samples and send to maybe US or to the UK or a particular country for the test to be done. How many couples will do that? They're just simply going to do the next trial, and then if they succeed, then that's fine. Now, we could also talk about the availabilities of these services. We don't have, wherever you are determines how you see things. If they don't even talk about it, you won't even know that there is something like that. Because most of the women we have consulted, they said they have never even heard about preconception care before. We even did a study and it showed about 60 to 70% of women who had knowledge about preconception care, but only 30% of these women, of these couples, even practiced preconception care. So if the platform is not even there for you to practice, therefore you might not even know that, or you might not even practice it. So where you live actually determines how you take your health, how serious you take your health. The things which are available, those are the things which you will make use of. And sometimes their level of education, their income is not going to permit them to do, like now in our society where I am, is we are faced with a lot of crises, socio-political crisis. There is war. We are even barely, you're ensuring that you should even live for the next day. So once you even start thinking, you'll not even be thinking of health. Most of the times people take health as a second option, because you're even looking for a place to stay. You're displaced from here, you start seeing that it's insecure, you start leaving and going to another place. And you, for example, you could be renting while here you were living in your own home. All those type of things, your environment would definitely determine how you see your health, or how serious you take your health system. So I think that could be a reason to answer Michelle's question.
That's one of the reasons. I think Michelle also could be potentially speaking about, we look at it from a West perspective. Yes, there are disparities when it comes to where you're living. Also, where you live, could determine how well you're cared for, treated for. There are other factors. So we have to think about, yes, where you live, but are people aware of your cultural, understanding? Are they aware of the things that you may hold, or you may be aware to you that is pertaining to you, and how you would like to be treated, and how you look at others coming into what is deemed to be your space? So it's having that understanding to be able to then this. And we also looked at this in our previous audio events, from this perspective, from this side of the pond, I should say. There are different reasons. I understand with regards to being in Africa, the disparity in terms of people not having the financial resources, or even wanting to have the knowledge, or they're not aware. Some people might be ignorant of what is available to them. Over here, when I think, and again, I always look at things from the British perspective. Why do more of us from the UK or the US experience miscarriage, or experience losses more? We've got to look at how we're cared for, how we're treated, when we go into these spaces. And that is a huge factor. The reason why the stats over here shows that there is one for Black women are 4 times more likely to die in childbirth than any other race on this side. It's a reason for that. So we have to understand it, that the world over, there are different norms. What's normal for you might not be normal for the next person who lives, in Africa, for example. And that's what we need to consider. And there is still research that is ongoing. Here's what I would say. The reason why I'm big on advocacy and education is we have to keep educating ourselves. We have to keep educating people to gain a better understanding in terms of, what do I do? How do I do it? What am I aware of? Do I need to know more? What's my own personal story, history? And how do I then go out and find even more? And how do I communicate that to those that are caring for me? Are they even aware? Because there are differences, but sometimes when we are in these spaces, it may not be the first thing that we think about. Another reason why I always say, take the time to sit down and think about what you want, what you're aware of, and write the questions down that you want to ask, what you want to know, you know? And once you've had that, it means that you can, so when you ask questions, people cannot ignore you. If they do ignore you, you have to persist and get the answers that you are seeking. But there are so many factors to answer Michelle's question, so many factors that contribute to the reason why we experience these differences. And so it's really important that we can, and we continue to do the research, we continue to provide information so we are able to better understand pregnancy, the lack, reducing the risk of miscarriage and baby loss, something that everybody gets to talk about, everybody gets to be part of, because it affects our society. You might think you're going through it personally, but the reality is it has an impact across the board. Globally, it's a huge issue that we don't want to talk about, that we fail to talk about openly, that we still look at as a taboo subject, or and still stigmatized till this day. So, beautiful question. Thank you for that question, Michelle. And I really want to say hello to some people who have all here, because I can see people coming in. I'm not sure who they are, so I'm going to go through all the list and try and mention those I haven't mentioned before. In fact, I'll do the list again. So thank you for being here, Deborah. It's your first time being here. Thank you for joining us today. We appreciate you. Sam, thank you for being here. Platine, thank you for being here. William, thank you for being here too. See you tomorrow. That should be fun. Shahido, thank you for being here. Professor Roxana, thank you for being here. Cyrus, great to see you. Good afternoon. Michael B, great to see you. Rosemary, thank you so much for joining us and for being here. I don't know who is on the YouTube side. And Lisa, thank you so much for being here too, Lisa. I can't find you on here, but I can see you on my screen. Really weird. Technology, my technology especially, does its own thing, has a mind of its own.
I can't see most people on my screen, so I don't know why. These things happen, Christiana. Look, Sam Paul, I see you as well, Sam. I'm glad you're here, Sam. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
I will see you. Dr. Lisa is the menopause dietitian expert in our community, and also the international best-selling author several times. So glad you're here. Here's a question to use on stage. You promised us the steps, Christiana. You promised the steps to find joy. Go and do it quick. What's the steps? How do we find joy after marriage and baby loss? Dr. Noella, the question goes to you too. Michelle, if you can share.
The first step. So the first step is acknowledging your loss. Really acknowledge the loss. There is no time scale. People are under the impression that there's a time scale. It ends and you heal and you recover and you move on. That's it. The reality is you need to take the time. Hi, Paulette. Welcome. You need to take the time that you need to go through the grieving process together as a couple, if you're a couple, and individually if you're not a couple. So that's important. Once you start to understand, also get professional help with that. As I mentioned before, who were you before you began this journey? When you set off to start a family or to grow your family, what things brought you joy? What are the things that brought you joy? Think about those things. And whilst you're thinking about those things, think about what you want to know about your journey. That can come from being having access to your medical records, having access to your healthcare practitioner, understanding your own body, and ensuring that you make the right notes to ask the right questions. And when you're faced with a healthcare practitioner, do not be afraid to ask those questions. Because by asking questions, we gain knowledge. And by gaining knowledge, we are set at peace. We have some form of peace of mind. And it allows us to be informed when we are moving forward with whatever options we want to move forward with. So that's step number 3. The next step is engage in physical activity. Take yourself out of your house. Unlike me that was stuck on my floor, for what felt like weeks. take the courage to engage in activities that will get you outside of your home, that will also get you high in favor, that will get you to really go out, get some fresh air in the lungs, breathe. The things, those activities, mindfulness practice is really important because it helps to alleviate some of the feelings, emotions that you're going through to help you better understand them. Take that time to do so. And do not forget to ask for help. Ask those that really know you. If it's just one person, one best friend or mother, whoever it is that that person is that you're happy to confide in, ask that person to be your support partner. If you don't have a partner, if you have a husband, do some activities together and enjoy some separately. I'll go back to who were you before you began your journey to become parents. So it's really important for that to happen. The next step is once you've got that, start to journal. Journal. These days we have smartphones. We can use smartphones to be able to put down our emotions, express ourselves in whatever way we find uh, that brings us joy, whether that's writing, poetry, whether that's putting on your music, whatever it is that you do that brings you joy. Reconnect with yourself. Allow yourself the time, the space, the patience. Most importantly, give yourself that patience to be able to move forward on your journey. Share this with your partner. Communicate to understand as opposed to reciprocate. Really take the time to do that. As I mentioned before, if you feel like you want to get a therapist on board to help you, that's fine. A miscarriage baby loss coach, that's fine too. You can do that to move forward. And as you move forward, think about those around you, whether in a workspace and in a personal space, that you can call upon to help you from a daily, weekly, monthly basis to do so. Avoid surrounding yourself or finding yourself in negative spaces. That's another important thing. A negative space could be something as simple as somebody asking you the wrong question and you trying to explain yourself because you walk away feeling even worse. So avoid situations like that. And as Dr. Noella would mentioned, I'm not going to jump into her side, but I would say as you begin, that takes you into your preconception journey. Here's the thing. My recommendation is you take the time and you enjoy the journey. I know sometimes some of the activities you've got to do, things you've got to remember, may feel like such chore, such chore, for you. Try and you can make that activity more fun to engage in, and journal the process. Write down things, whether through a calendar, a notebook, something that allows you to really look at your progress and how far you've come. Take pride in that. Gain that clarity so that gives you confidence to move forward. I'm going to yield my mic there for now, and I'll pass over to Dr. Noella.
As a host, I get to do things like ask questions. I like Paulette's now. Paulette's banging on about something I think is really important, really. I think it's Paulette's really talking about reconnecting with your partner and not doing this alone. I think doing this together as one of the true steps to finding your joy. So her next comment is create areas to practice wellness together. It is about re-engaging, because that would it's reconnecting with your mind and your body.
Mentioned that earlier.
Go on.
That was mentioned earlier. So thank you, Paulette, for writing it in black and white.
Thank you.
It was mentioned. So the important thing is do it together and do it separately as well, because it's a journey, right? You individually are going to have your own ways of doing things. Men and women are so different, but you must also check in with each other. You must also reconnect together. Because before, like if you remember, I said earlier, before you started this journey, who were you? Before you became, husband or wife, who were you? What were the things that brought you, contentment, that wholeness, that joy, that peace? Who were you before then? Before you jumped, you moved forward into marriage or relationship. So those things that gave you joy, bring it in, reconnect, and continue it and individually.
I like that. Okay, Dr.
But thank you so
Noella,
much
are you
for
there? Dr. Noella, are you there? Yeah, you're muted
Yes,
if you are. Okay, so my
yes, I'm
question to
here. I'm
you,
here.
I think that Christiana's talked very well about what you can do, what the woman can do, if you want to call it that, right? So I think that's helpful to all of us.
Yes,
Of course, I think the
and the man.
reconnecting part is important, right? And the man, okay. I don't know. It feels like
yes,
I know. So
And
my
the man,
question
of
to you,
course.
Dr.
And,
Noella,
and the man
is
too. Uh,
yes, okay, all right. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. My question is the third part of this equation: the other people. What can we do to help someone who's experienced miscarriage or baby loss to find joy? Their friends, their family, their colleagues. What can we do?
yeah,
Talk
of
to them.
course.
Don't
Okay,
alienate them.
is that for Michelle or for me? Okay.
for you, Dr. Noella.
Okay. Yes, of course, because that's why, like I said, on the standpoint of preconception care, it's important that we know exactly what to do just by this sensitization. That's the first thing, because if now you have had a miscarriage before, you as a person who knows, or maybe your friend, your sister, any of your family members has undergone or had a miscarriage, what's the first thing you have to tell that person? Medically, you have to go for a checkup. And once you go for this checkup, it's important you go early. I'm going to even just join it to just tell maybe people generally what you should do the next for after a miscarriage. The first thing I'm going to stress on: don't leave the hospital without asking the doctor what next. So if you have anyone who has miscarriage, and the first thing you can ask that person is, what did the doctor say? Or what can you do next? You can ask that person the question. Of course, you know how to ask the person, not just maybe bumping the question to the face, but with that concern, with that care, and ensuring that at least you feel empathetic with that person, with that woman as well. So once you tell them, because the main thing is that checkup, you can see that, okay, if you finished and you're really ready now for the next pregnancy, you don't just bump into the next pregnancy. You have to do that checkup. That's why Christiana again was saying the journey has to also involve that package. And I've sent it to Christiana, so those who want to get it, you can, like she said, you DM her. She's going to send you the various checklists of everything for both the male and the female. So for those who are here, you can get it. And someone who has experienced that, you can share it with the person. That this is what you have to know. This is what you can do. Sometimes, because there are times when people go to the hospital and they do some tests, they do some checkup. They might not do a certain one because not all doctors as well to have been trained for this particular aspect. So you could go and meet a doctor who has no idea or little or no or little knowledge about this. So maybe they might not ask some particular questions concerning a particular thing. They might have the general overview, but it's quite different from someone who has a deep knowledge on something, on preconception care. So you could use this checklist and see if you've gone through, you've seen that, oh, okay, let me not do this, let me do this. Okay, I'm going to check myself for this, and this. Then that could really be a good way forward to help another person who has undergone or had a miscarriage before. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Noella.
Thank you so much. Thank you
That
so
was
much.
awesome.
Thank you, Christiana.
I've got a question.
I've got many questions. You ask yours and answer it while you're there. Go for it.
I've I've got a question. And from a mental health perspective, I'm not asking from a mental health perspective, I'm asking from a physical perspective. So where you have women who are aware that they are their fetus is no longer alive, and they have, for some of them, have to wait about 2 weeks before they are seen to have the DNC done. What would you say to women that are experiencing this? What would be the best thing for them to do physically from their well-being, physical perspective?
You're muted, Dr. Noella. I can't help you on this one.
Okay, so if I get you right, if I get you right, it means people who have, maybe they say the fetus is no longer working, the fetus has stopped living, and they have to program for a DNC.
Yes.
Okay. No, what
Yes.
yes, it's always, there is a point of counseling. Of course, they have to do pre, because it's almost like an operative kind of thing, a DNC. So you have to do a
It
pre,
is.
yeah, a pre
It is.
from counseling. So you're being told, especially when you know there are some people that when you've known that everything was fine, the baby is growing, then out of a sudden, those especially who come to their hospital just to come and check themselves for their regular antenatals, and they tell them that the heartbeat is no longer there, is different. The way you talk to them is different from someone who comes with bleeding already from home. So those are two scenarios which you can take into consideration. Someone who is bleeding, most of the times they've already had in mind that, hey, it might be a loss. But this person who is coming and you just discover that there is no heartbeat, you have to even know how to break the news to that person, to tell them that this baby you are carrying, the heartbeat is no longer there. Those are two scenarios. And once you actually take time to explain, sometimes you can do like a discussion with them, asking them if they've ever heard about this kind of thing. Then when they start explaining or they have no idea, you start seeing how you break it up to them. And it's always important that you can bring another person
My question
beside.
is,
Yes.
the question I was asking is, so what advice,
Uh-huh.
some of the, because they have to wait at least 2 weeks before returning for DNC, what advice would you give them to maintain themselves physically? Naturally,
Okay.
they are in mental crisis, because imagine you've lost you're informed you lost your baby, the fetus is no longer alive, but you have to wait for the procedure. Okay, so
Okay.
physically,
I didn't get
what
that
should they be
last part.
considering?
Okay. I'm sure the network was breaking. I didn't get that last part. All right. No, normally we actually,
Technology.
yeah, of course. So we actually, what we do is we don't usually leave them for that long. We keep them in the hospital and we follow them up for the procedure. So we know that so most of the times we don't send them home, because we always this the tendency of you going back and you're on your own, we don't know how you're going to take it. So for us, it's always we keep in the hospital and we monitor
Yes.
you. Yes. And we monitor you, and we keep on doing constant checkup, because even staying for long, there's a
Yes.
medical risk which can occur, and we don't usually keep for a long time. We keep them in the hospital, and we contact them with the counselor, who makes sure that they are well, they are physically and at least emotionally stable at that moment before they are doing the procedure. So maybe I've not really had the experience sending the patient home and telling them to come back after 1 or 2 weeks. We have not really had that particular scenario. But if in case, if it has to happen, definitely you have to have a support system. This where you have to put maybe sometimes the partner, and you don't, of course, the partner too, you don't know how far or how emotionally break the patient, the partner is. You can put the partner, there are other family members whom you can ask the person, who you think care about you a lot and you really value their opinion. So you could bring them all together in one space and discuss with them. And once they go home, there might be some changes medically. You could tell them now some changes if they see this is an emergency. For example, if you're not bleeding, you start bleeding, you start feeling severe pains, and you start feeling dizzy, those type of things, you come immediately before the time for the procedure. Yes, so we could involve other people to make sure that they are stable physically at home. But what we do actually is we monitor you in the hospital.
Yes.
Another question, Christian?
Thank you so much for answering that question. I asked a question. Sorry?
Go and carry on, please.
I asked a question. I can't hear any. So sorry. I asked the question. It's funny you say, because in Africa, you guys are keeping people in the hospital, which for me should be the basic. This should be that's the right approach to take. But over here, that isn't always the case. So it's a thought of, when you have a woman in that condition, physically, what should she be doing? Because I know some people are going to experience pain, some will experience bleeding and different things. If they're left for 2 weeks, what she should be doing? That was why I asked the question, because that happens here. I'm very glad, and I know that in Africa, some countries, you guys see them immediately, or they're kept in hospital until they're treated. So thank you for answering that question, Dr. Noella.
Sorry, no,
Did Ellie have a question?
Of course, I've got a question. I think it's the next stage. So after the miscarriage, I think it's a case of, as a friend, as a brother, as maybe even a partner. When do I laugh? When can I return to laughing with the person that's the woman, the person who's lost a baby, right? When do we is there a time when it's okay, when it's okay to almost try to return to normality? I'm trying to this is what people worry about, right? What's your advice, Christian and Dr. Noella? What's your advice about when can we start laughing again?
So
when can we
there is no set time. Really?
You get my question, right?
Yeah.
Things.
Christiana,
unfortunately, things are breaking up from. I can't really hear you properly. Dr. Noella, can you hear Annie? Sorry?
Yeah, we can hear you. That's why I said you were answering. So you could go ahead. Maybe Christiana has a problem listening.
So I was answering that
Okay.
each couple is different. Can you?
We hear you. We hear
I can hear you, Dr. Noella.
You're fine for now. You're a bit slow moving.
Dr. Noella?
Yes. You're a bit slow moving, Christiana. You blink very slowly. You move your hand very slowly.
I'm about to get kicked out again. So So Dr.
Go on.
Noella,
We
do you want
can
to
hear
go
you.
ahead? Let me try. Just I'm about to get kicked out again off the screen. Sorry.
It's all right. It's all right. We'll survive.
Okay,
So
so
yes.
like I was saying, yes,
So when is it?
there's
Go
busy.
ahead, Dr. Noella.
Okay. There's basically no time to. It just most of the times it just comes. It's just going to come spontaneously, but you cannot really say that this particular time. It's almost like a grief. When you lost someone, there's no particular time for you to say that after 6 months, that's when you should start laughing. Or after one, you see sometimes they just bury someone, and the next day, the next 2 days, you see the person laughing as though nothing even happened. But maybe if you remind them or they think about it, then they come back to that state. So sometimes there is no a particular period that you say from this time you can start smiling, or you the partner, because there's something you can see the partner smile. The problem, where the problem comes in, is when the woman is still grieving and you turn and see your partner smiling. It's as if you don't have that feeling too, or you've passed it so fast. So you have to know how to weigh the emotions in between, and know when this person is carrying on with you. And you just the same, like when you're talking to someone, you see the person, this person is already not more listening to me. You already know when to stop. You know when to pause and walk away. It's just the same. If you see the emotions at that time and it's not really favorable for that, you have to also consider the person's feelings at that moment.
Yes.
And once you two enter into it and start talking and saying, oh no, it's fine, we can move on, and you also see the person, because sometimes you might heal fast or you might move on faster than the next person, so you could help the next person to move on. So you all can move on at the same pace, or if one person is behind, you can help the other person, bring the person up to your own level. Then you can move on from there. So it's just the same. If you see the emotions at that time, and it's not really favorable, then
Oh, you're muted. So if you can hear us, Dr. Noella. So
I know Dr.
Christiana,
Noella
we're back to
has got to
you.
go
We're back to you,
actually. So
Dr. Noella. She has to go. Okay.
think she does. She has to go. Bless her. I think I've kept her longer than she was supposed to be here for. But Dr. Noella, if you can hear me, I want to say thank you so much for
yes, I can hear you.
being here and for being part of this joy, you know, moving on to joy after a miscarriage. We truly appreciate your time. We say thank you, and hopefully we'll see more of you throughout the year. Thank you so much.
Definitely,
Please say
definitely. Yeah, it was my
bye.
honor to be here. Thank you, Amy.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Christiana. Thank you,
Let's show
Michelle.
her some love.
And thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank
You're a
you.
beautiful
Thank you.
soul.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you, everyone. So we're back here in 2 weeks' time, Christiana, right? 2 weeks' time. I don't know what our topic is going to be, but I'll find out, and you will be next to find out.
Let's speak soon.
Yeah.
So to go back to the question that you asked, as Dr. Noella has touched on it. Firstly, it's about you two knowing each other and how you know each other. What is, good for one couple may not be good time. Usually it's not straight away or the next morning. It takes time to build, and what happens before the laughter, the communication, is the connecting to each other and holding on to memories that you have for your loved lost one. It's the acknowledging that loss and being able to have conversations, talk about the dreams you had, you know, for that child, for that pregnancy, all the conversations you had before this trauma happened. That gets to set the two of you on the journey to being able to laugh again, to share something again. And it's really important, as Dr. Noella mentioned, for the man and the woman, you might both be at different stages. Sometimes what happens with this trauma is the blame game. When you're knee deep in trauma, when you are frustrated, when you are angry, when you're looking for, you sometimes will forget and you begin to blame each other. I will say to you, remember that. Remember not to blame each other. Remember that you had this dream together, and you must find a way to work together and to communicate and to really listen to each other. That's when you begin to experience the joy that, or laughter that Annie is to each other. How well each other would allow you guys to communicate and to reconnect and to enjoy the journey with a smile to your face that will make you laugh. Spending time doing activities will allow you to be able to get to the point where laughter features in your home again. I truly hope that this session has given you guys some food for thought, if not plenty nuggets. And for those that are experiencing, the person that has had, or the people that have experienced miscarriage, how do you support them? They have to give you their timings. Let them lead you on how you can help and how you can support. A good question is, how can we journey with you? How can we help you daily? What things? They might not even want to talk. Sometimes it's being in the same space and just listening whilst they pause. Sometimes it's a shoulder to cry on. Sometimes it's physical. Can you help me go and get this in the store? I don't feel like really leaving my house today, or I don't feel like driving. Or you can actually get them out and drive them yourself and help them to get to that location. So support for both parties comes in different shapes and sizes. By communicating it, clearly communicating without fear, without judgment, means that you arrive at a point where you get to truly enjoy. In the pain, laughter just come. And as I said 2 weeks ago, weeping might endure in the night, but joy comes in the morning. And I don't mean literally the next morning. I mean that it will take time for that to happen, but it will happen at some point. Now, moving on forward, our next series, what I'm hoping to talk about is looking at the options really available to those that perhaps may not be able to go on and conceive. What are your options? What resources do you have around you? So I'm going to leave it to Annie and if last words, and also to me. You see me, is it me or is it you?
You lasted this long, Christiana.
Oh, you're moving again, yeah.
You know, a quick defrag is what you need to do, Christiana. I laugh, right? Defragmenting your computer is what you need to do very quickly. Well, you've done well. You lasted this long. Michelle, I wonder what's your thoughts as we leave? What's the last message?
I can't hear you now at all.
Yes, don't worry. We know that, Christiana. We know. We're about to go. Michelle, what's your last thoughts? What do you want to share with us as we go on the topic?
if you know someone, I know it's uncomfortable to deal with it and everything. Just remember, it's not you dealing with it. It's the person that needs you that's dealing with it. Just be a friend. Listen, get them to laugh. Get them. I do coloring books. Whenever I've had an issue, I will get out coloring books to get my mind out of things. Be a friend. It's gonna be awkward. You think it's awkward for you? 10 times worse on that person over there. Just be a friend. To show love. And pretty soon, that person's gonna be able to show love again. And that person's gonna be able to go on. Because that person wanted that child. And that person needs to mourn. And if that person doesn't know how to mourn, help them. Give them ideas. But help the person. Help both people. It's hard for a man too. And it's okay to not be okay. So you can go get okay.
I like that. No, I think that's great advice, really. It is about being a friend and being there. And you know, maybe I'm thinking time can lessen the pain. Time can help, give people the space to find themselves again. Especially if they do what Christiana and Dr. Nola was saying. If you have the right medical support, and there's a way forward, and maybe you have better understanding of why the miscarriage happened, why the baby loss happened, and you might find it might be easier, quicker to get back to your happy self. But we must get back to our happy self. I think that's the point. I think in today's conversation. Michael, what can I say? If you're on a mobile, of course the text is going to cover people's face. So that's why I try and get rid of it from my screen as quick as I can. Glad you're here, though, Michael. Thank you for joining us. Who's LinkedIn user? Thanks, Christiana. Great talk. Who's LinkedIn user? I had no idea.
Hi, Michael. Good to see you.
So who?
LinkedIn user, can you please put your name next to your comment?
Next comment.
We know who you are, so we can help you and be your friend.
Yeah, well, I suppose you might find them in the comments, Christiana, when you go and look at the comments afterwards. Yeah, you might work out who the person is. See, I've learned a lesson today.
Yes. So in terms of how I work with my clients, were you covering my face the whole time? Well done, you.
No.
Hi, Simone. Is that
the comments have been great. See, look, I'll do this for you, Christiana. Tell us about your service, Christiana. Tell us how you help, how you work. Your big face is on the screen. Yes.
I work with my big face, my small. So
I didn't say your big
what
head.
I do. Annie, why are you laughing?
I'm amusing myself.
You love to cause trouble. Anyway, you're amusing yourself. Welcome, Simone. Welcome, Michael. Oh, look at who we have here. The Gamne is here. Thank you so much for being here. First time being with us. Welcome. Thank you. I was at your community just not long ago. I think last Sunday evening. So my clients to really gain clarity and confidence, so they can be on their way with joy, and to get joy. Even having a look at hand-holding process where we're looking at your grieving process. We're looking at you understanding what is happening to you, your body, what you can do to help yourself to move forward, who you have around you, how are you disclosing that information, what you're going through at work, who are your support networks, what are you doing to be able to find peace within? So my work essentially is with women and couples to help them gain clarity and confidence, to help them to alleviate some of the mental stress torture that they could be going through, whether that's depression, stress, anxiety, the negative self-talk that we tend to tell ourselves, the finger pointing of our own bodies and speaking against our own bodies and telling our bodies how it's no good because we've gone through this traumatic experience. And so it's really important for me when I work with my clients in getting them to pause, to really suppress it. You're just postponing inevitable. So that for me in a nutshell is what I do with my my women and men and couples with employers. I'm the person who information before you begin to write anything down on paper, or indeed this digital. Before you offer any policy, where are you putting this information within your policy? Is it on the bereavement section? Because I have some employers who will just put everything relating to death in the bereavement section, and the reality is fertility, pregnancy, miscarriage is a different type of bereavement. And having your workforce or your team members having to take the annual leave on top of a bereavement leave isn't okay. Just so you know, we have got to be humans. We've got to treat people like human beings and not numbers. So essentially, as part of what I do, I also do training. I do guest speaking at your networking events, whether that's or employee networking events, as I did just this Monday just gone. So you can get in contact with me via DM on LinkedIn, send me a message, and we can have a conversation about doing that. The third part of what I do is healthcare practitioners. Okay, so one of the reasons why Dr. Noella was here with us is because we work collaboratively. We have to understand that the language that we use in these spaces can sometimes, and in fact, most times, have a negative impact on those that we are serving. And we must seek to change those negative words or the words that are medical that we need to change so that we don't leave or we do not leave those who are experiencing this trauma feeling worse off, going off in an even more negative mindset, adding to the depression or depressive state and asking themselves why. We want to have your patients, clients to ask the question, what's next and how? Because the why questions will leave them doomed. The why questions will leave them confused and for them to continue in the negative path. So remember, wherever you are, you are not alone. And for those that watching others experiencing this, you can be an ambassador. You can be a champion by listening, by asking, how can I journey with you? What can I do for you practically? Help. Try not to help, hurry or rush them. Let them lead journey. Let them be the one to say, this is how I want to be. Don't forget, it takes a lot of courage to speak up about this because of the trauma, because of the stigma, because it's still a taboo subject to talk about. So if you find anyone who takes the courage to disclose this to you, I want you to be that champion, be that ambassador, be that advocate when they haven't got a voice. You be their voice for them, whether in a work environment or a social space or a personal space, because we all need each other essentially. I want to say to you, thank you for taking the time to join us. Week in, week out, you are here. I don't take it for granted. I don't take it lightly. I want to appreciate each and every one of you for blessing us, for gracing us with your presence, with your time. Because they say the things you can't get back is your time, your energy. And so I am very honored that you choose to spend it with us time and time again. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for here. And again, the checklist, please send me a DM. I will send out the checklist for the preconception for both male and female. And if you have any questions, need support, need me to come and talk to your team, need me to come and, do some training, whatever you need in respect of miscarriage and baby loss, I am here to help you. You are not alone. Over to you, Annie.
Thank you. I'm sure we agree with Paulette. Communication is key, right? And you're the best at explaining it, how you feel to everyone and what you are up for in terms of having fun and doing, I guess, everyday things after miscarriage. Then Michael says, Rosemary says, offering emotional support in the hard time is the highest help you can offer someone going through a difficult time. Sometimes what we want to hear is that it's going to be okay. Thanks, Rosemary. I agree with you. Do you agree, Christiana? I'm sure you do, right? I'm sure Michelle's shaking her head, saying she does.
Love that.
So, I'll leave you with some humor, right? You know what? I've just realized, Christiana.
Support in hard times is the highest help.
Just realized, Christiana.
Through difficult times, sometimes all we want to hear is remember, it is okay to be imperfect. It is not okay to be incomplete. I'll repeat that. It is okay to be imperfect. It is not okay to be incomplete. And if you need help to feel complete, to feel whole again, please. Thank you, Michelle. So lovely to have you on stage with us. Really enjoyed you being here. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you, everyone.
And Annie?
Thank you for having me.
As always, thank you.
I've got a very heavy head. I just realized my head leans to one way. I got to try and put it back the other way, right?
I do that.
You got to carry your head.
Do that.
Yeah, I would always try and lean the other way now. Otherwise, I'll give myself next strain. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy. My next show is about the corporate, professional, and entrepreneur immigrants' journey. That's in 4 hours? Yeah, 4 hours. So do join us.
That was a huge, long dinosaur name.
I know. You try writing the hashtag for that, Michelle. Try writing the hashtag. I'm like, it covers 2 lines. I'm like, why is it so long? Well, no, it's
just to say, we're back in 2 weeks' time.
We are. It's what my friend talks about, Michelle. What can I say, right? The conversation is always good. I say it's about helping immigrants to find themselves in their purpose at work and in the professional life. Join us. I'm going to invite all of you, so do join us then. Look, my friends, enjoy. Thank you for joining us. As I'm going to play our outgoing music.
You're breaking it again.
It's you. Connect with Christiana.
Thank you. See you in 2 weeks time, folks. See you in 2 weeks time for the next topic. I cannot wait.
drum. Let's chase success with Global.Media.